Paul, I like your videos and your segments on InfoWars. However, every time I share your videos, I get one particular video thrown back at me from my audience. You made it during the 2014 Israel-Gaza war, and the SJWs love how you call out and shame the evil Zionist regime in Israel for war crimes.
This is a war crime.
While I was making this video, Alex Jones put out this clip.
So all you Israel haters, you bought into mainly a bunch of globalist, Soros, left-wing garbage that's super popular with all the SJWs. They all hate Israel.
You kick off with a trademark hard intro and lead first with the blood of Arab children.
IDF forces killed 3 more children last night during the ground offensive invasion of Gaza. Israelis on hill above Sderot cheer as bombs land on Gaza. Threaten to destroy our car if I said a word wrong. Scum. The tweet was deleted about 20 minutes later.
Yes, CNN. That is the same organization you have been railing against for almost 2 years.
You are fake news.
I'll just go out and say it. CNN and all the mainstream press have been doing to Israel for decades what you are watching them do to Trump and the whole Trump movement and the Brexits and the Brexiteers. I'm on that Trump train and I voted for Brexit. I recognize the symptoms. And if I look today, that journalist, Diana Magnay, is working at Channel 4 News in the UK. You know nothing, Jon Snow, where, according to her Twitter feed, she is the exact same social justice warrior she was when she was at CNN. In fact, I'd say you're 20 or more years late to the fake news train. For example, remember this image? Mohammed al-Jura. This case made it into Osama bin Laden's letter explaining why he ordered the World Trade Center attacks. It was in the justification for the beheading of Daniel Pearl. It was fake, and the term Pallywood was coined for this kind of fakery. All the mainstream media share fake videos. Your biggest complaint, repeated throughout the video, is the disproportionate number of deaths.
So in just the past week alone, Israel has killed 10 times the amount of Palestinians in 1 week in comparison to Hamas rocket attacks for the previous 13 years since 2001. Is that a proportionate response?
All your sources are mainstream news which you now distrust reflexively on almost all other subjects. Social justice warrior Linda Sarsour, they're all fully committed to the Palestinian cause. Doesn't that make you nervous? If Israel had lined up 199 of our children on the border and given Hamas a free shot, would they take it? Would that even the score and be more acceptable? The only reason Hamas's rockets killed so few is not because they weren't trying. It's because Israel fiercely defends its population with mandatory bomb shelters, air raid warnings, and a myriad of other means. Are the same people writing the casualty reports that the BBC and CNN and Fox and all the media just take uncritically? The numbers that you just read, you have no way to independently verify them.
Right. I'm going to save my face here. I attribute it to the Gaza Health Ministry. But,
exactly. That's Hamas.
But perhaps that is it.
During the war, we did the work analyzing names, genders, and ages at the time, something no mainstream source did. It's immediately obvious Israeli targeting was the best in the world. Israel kills a completely disproportionate number of fighting age men. Hamas reflexively call almost everyone killed during a war a woman or a child. Their rockets also misfire and kill their own people. This is always attributed to Israel in the early reporting. For sure, innocent people are killed by Israel. It's horrible. It's war. What we don't have as a national goal is the intentional targeting of non-combatants.
This is about the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians who, of course, have been herded into basically a concentration camp, the Gaza Strip.
Gaza isn't a concentration camp, and there's no ethnic cleansing or genocide. The only people claiming that are the Linda Sarsours and her lying SJW acolytes, the ones you call out every day for their bullshit. There is no genocide of Palestinians. Their population has increased inexorably, both in areas under Israeli control and outside, like Gaza. And we've got years of pictures from concentration camp Gaza showing the nice hotels and shopping malls. Sure, there is poverty and desperation, but the stats show unemployment and poverty are about the same as Democrat-controlled cities like Detroit. Only Gaza has a far lower violent death rate. You also showed and spoke about a map.
Look at this map of Palestinian loss of land since 1946. From this to this, and there's the Gaza Strip.
A map which is thoroughly dishonest. It's so dishonest that when MSNBC used it, they had to retract it a few days later.
We have a map that shows historically the areas that used to be Palestine in 1940. Last Thursday, in an attempt to talk about the context for the current turmoil in the Middle East, we showed a series of maps of the changing geography in that region. We realized after we went off the air, the maps were not factually accurate, and we regret using them to help.
2014 was personal. I'm recording this video in the same bomb shelter in my apartment where we waited to hear the sound of Iron Dome rockets destroying Hamas rockets in the skies above us. I saw some of those when the alarm rang in a different region from where my building is. I can assure you, my kids and I were properly terrified. There are two takeaways. Most of the information you got and used for your emotional video during the 2014 war came from thoroughly corrupt sources who lie and deceive you about Israel, just as they did about Brexit and Trump. They've been lying back as far as 1967. I just appeared in a video explaining how broken Associated Press television news in Camden is. It's an amazing story, link below. Social justice warriors and the left have all decided to demonize Israel for our very existence. That's why your 2014 video, which aligns completely with what the far left and SJWs are trying to say, to this day stands out like a sore thumb. In November last year, Tommy Robinson toured Israel with myself and a tour guide friend of mine who was hacked to within an inch of her life by machete-wielding Muslim terrorists who murdered her American friend before her eyes. Tommy and his friends paid for their trips. Anytime you want to come, we can sort out the same thing. I'm not offering you an expenses-paid Israeli government trip, just my tour guide friend, my wife's car, and stuff they don't show all the tourists. I'm Brian of London on Twitter. Much as Jesus is no longer in Nazareth, Brian is no longer in London. I live in Tel Aviv, Israel, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.